Like I said, y'all, this was going to be almost a 2 to 3 part series with the gang, man. Again, for probably everybody that's tuning in right now, Trippy OG, my guy Cash, my guy Smoove, my guy Mo, we all here. This is Fan to Fan Talk series. So look, now that we at part 2, we got to ask the second question. We left off with everybody feeling like, you know what? Let's go to this top 5 bag. Let's tank. And because of Cash, he's got everybody like, let's go get SGA. And I'm
Let's
all
go,
for it.
baby.
I'm all for it. But now, because we're all realists and we are, a select few out of fans that like to be realistic. So if we don't happen to get SGA, who is a point guard that you would trade multiple picks for in this offseason? So now I'm gonna start with you, Smoove. Who you going with?
Um, well, I love DeJounte Murray. That is one point guard that I feel, even though he's an all-star, if you look at San Antonio, we've talked about it a lot in the spaces. They're rebuilding, and they don't have no draft capital at all whatsoever. And I think that if you look at his last couple of years, they haven't made the playoffs, and I think he's gonna want to make the playoffs his last year, right? So I think that if there's any point guard, if it's not SJ, it's definitely DeJounte Murray because he gives us everything that we could possibly want. He's already in a system right now where it requires ball movement. It requires getting everybody involved. High basketball IQ. He plays defense. And in that system, it doesn't require him to score 30 points. But if you look at how he plays, he can really score 30 with no problem. And you saw that in the All-Star game that he can really score with a lot of those players. And right now in the position that we're in, if we get a top 5 pick, obviously my first pick is SGA, but I gotta go for Murray, man. I gotta go after him because honestly, that dude really could change the game for us if we can get SGA. And you talk about not turning the ball over a lot, not causing the team in terms of missing free throws, missing defensive assignments. That is one player that I'm willing to trade young guys for, draft assets, and I'm willing to give up Randall for him too. And that's just the way I feel because Greg Pop would look into maybe and Fournier because Fournier would play great in that system also. But you got to make the money work, the draft capital work. We got all of that, so it's just a matter of getting that top draft choice, and we just see where it goes from there.
Definitely, definitely. I like that take. And Murray is that guy. Murray is that guy. Especially
It,
like he took the major leaps this year. I didn't see that coming at all. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna save you for last, Cash, because I know you're gonna say some shit. I'm playing this shit. So I'm saving you for last. What's up, Mo? Who you got?
So, I mean, I agree with Angel. All his points were spot on. It's a smart take. I mean, SJ, we love it. I mean, the reason why SJ to me became a little more realistic in the past month was the game that OKC played against the Knicks, and Josh Giddey had that triple double. They paid SJ that max contract. Okay, if he becomes an All NBA player and an All Star, he can get up to $207 million in that contract. That's a lot of money. They're gonna have to pay him almost $50 million a year. When you have another guard in Josh Giddey there, who's still on his rookie deal at 19 years old, you got Trey Mann, who's still on a rookie deal. You have 3 first-round draft picks this year and 4 first-round draft picks next year. They can do their full rebuild like they've been trying to do for the past couple of years. If the Knicks do want to trade and they get a top 5 pick and they can trade it to OKC and get SGA, they can give them multiple first-round picks as well. They can send them Randall as well, and then they can build their future with Josh Giddey and Mann, and they can draft their power forward of the future, Jabari Smith or Ponchero or Chet Holmgren in that first round, because they're going to be a top 3, top 4 pick anyway with their record as it's looking so far. And if they get the next pick as well on top of that, that's 2 picks in the top 5 to top 7 range. So you can get some players that can move with this team for the future. And since they have so many picks and we're giving them more, they can use that as a bigger package to acquire an all-star to play with the younger guys, some veterans. So that can work out there. DeJounte Murray, like Smoove mentioned, he's a dream player for anyone. 29-9 this year. He's only getting paid $16.5 million. Such a friendly contract, and he deserves much more. So it would be a dream. San Antonio doesn't have any picks besides their own for the next 4 years. That's a big thing. If you're giving San Antonio 4 first-round picks, and they can be some good picks for them, and they can start rebuilding the right way, or they can use them with their own picks to trade for a star, it could be something good. We don't know how long Pop's going to stay there. He might retire very soon. Another thing that I'd like to look at, if you want to be a little more realistic, because maybe these teams don't want to trade their franchise players, maybe they want to stay with them. Orlando has 3 point guards. Orlando has
Yup,
Smalls.
my take. I was going
Yeah.
right there with it. Yup.
Orlando has Anthony. Orlando has Fultz. A lot is going on in Orlando, and you can make a multiple deal with that. If you want to include Julius Randle as well, so you can get rid of his contract, so you can let the younger guys start playing, you can do that. You can acquire one of those guards. Fultz will work. Suggs will work. Anthony would work. And if you want as well, and you don't know if you're going to sign Mitchell Robinson with his contract this year, that's a big talk also. It's another subject. You might be able to acquire Mo Bamba as well. So a big thing could happen in Orlando. So, and then, like, for the free agents that you have, they're just some smaller name guards. Not too small, but you have Schroeder, who's there if you want to give him a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal just to work out to see what you're going to do if you're talking about last options. But to me, there's some things that can happen. And since we have the younger guys for the first time in 5 years that our draft picks became assets that we can use in trades, I mean, I'm not afraid to be a Knicks fan this offseason. I think a lot can happen and anything can happen, so you never know.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I like that. I definitely like that. And I was definitely going to say something with the Magic, but now I got my backup take, so I'm going to say that one after. But let's go, Cash. What you got, man? What you got?
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I mean, I think I could write a book about, how I can get SGA on this damn team. You know what I'm saying? I was the first one to ever say it. I was in the spaces, back with, Charlotte and, Let's Talk Knicks and everything like that. I laid down the groundwork for anybody else in the spaces to even bring up SGA's name as a trade piece, you know what I mean, to get on these Knicks, man. I took all those bullets for everybody. You know what I mean? I took all those battles for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's a realistic thing for me, and it's for me it's gonna be SGA a bust, bro. Because I like DeJounte Murray, but I gotta take care of my man RJ. I gotta make him happy. That's his Canadian boy, AAU teammate. Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So that's the guy that I would want, to make the moves on, and we have the assets to get that done. If they want to. My only issue is that, you know, um, when I look at the Sacramento deal, right, and how they just let a Halliburton, slip through their hands or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't know if I have any faith that the front office can get anything done. Like, you can't let a deal like that go. And the reason why they didn't make the move and throw in those extra assets is because they used the word optics in that situation. They cared about how it looked, trading for him and giving away, like, whatever it may have been, an extra first rounder or whatever it may have been. We don't know the deal, but it came down to optics for a position that we desperately need. And I don't think anybody, as far as Knick fans, would have batted an eye over the fact that they gave an extra first round pick to get our point guard of the future. You know what I mean? So I don't know what optics they're talking about. They just look worse not making that deal, and trying to figure out a way to make that happen. Um, Another point guard out there, man. I don't know, man. I mean, you have all these little tweeners, like, like you have like the Jalen Brunsons, you have like, the if you want to just grab a Malcolm Brogdon, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like any of them. You know what I mean? I don't like any of them. I want that 6'6", you know what I mean? Almost a 7-foot wingspan, you know what I mean? Athletic guard, young, going into his prime. Like, that's what I want. You know what I mean? We've waited long enough to have a real point guard. I don't want to just get somebody garbage or somebody coming in who's, on the end of his lifeline, like, Kemba. You know, we have old guards. We need to get younger. And if it happens that we just end up drafting Jaden Ivey or what is the other kid's name? Davis. I like Davis a lot too. I think he's pretty tough.
Oh,
But
I think his name is
yeah,
Trevor
the
something like that.
yeah, the little light skin dude. Yeah, I mean, we can get one of those guys and then maybe build through the draft, and maybe that's just an asset for later on or whatever. But I just don't want to. If we're gonna, I mean, we don't have enough for Spider. You know what I mean? Let's be real. We would have to give up RJ for that or whatever. So I'm not ready to even mention his name in that either. So I would just draft him and then see what's out there. See what we can do to make the moves. But for me, it's actually a bust. That's it.
I respect it. I respect it. But being how, Mo took my take with the
Sure,
Magic
yeah.
and all that, another option that a lot of people like even the whole NBA forgot about. I might have to see what the Cavs is doing with
I know what you're doing. I know where you're going with that.
I might have to see what the
Sexton
Cavs is
go
doing with my guy Colin because he got a good rapport with everybody on our team too when it comes to young guys
Yeah.
as IQ, RJ, you know. So that's another guy I'm looking at, especially with, you know, Darius Garland taking the leap he took, the way the team looks without him, and they already was trying to figure out a way to get him off there. It's like, all right, what y'all doing with him? I'm all
Mhm.
for it. You get what I'm saying? But it's kind of a mixed feeling. Like I'm definitely like A1, yo, go get SGA. Prime number 2 for me is Murray. And then out of
Mhm.
every other pick, it's crazy, but I would probably put Cole Anthony before I go get Sexton, bro. Like that's crazy. Like before I go get Colin, I'll probably go get Cole
crazy.
Anthony.
That's not crazy, man. It's a good point. It's not crazy.
Yeah,
There's a
but if
reason
you
why
tell other
Sexton.
people that, we look crazy.
Nah, there's a reason why Sexton hasn't been traded. Sexton's attitude's like a Julius Randle's attitude on the court and in the locker room. He's been
I
a
don't know
big
if I can
problem.
deal with that.
You don't want that, especially someone that's supposed to be your floor general. It's been a big problem. And the main thing that I feel like people have been saying to me or to Angel or to Clay and all the chats about SGA not being realistic, people keep forgetting that Presti almost traded SGA to Detroit for that first pick in the draft. If he was willing
Exactly.
to do that for Cade Cunningham, what makes you think he's not going to do it if they get the picks in the draft this year, top 3 pick? If the Knicks do get the number 1 pick, I wouldn't say that Donovan Mitchell is not available. If they have the number 1 pick in the draft this year and they continue with 3 multiple first round picks and you give them every young guy you have, everyone's on the table for me as a Knicks fan except RJ Barrett. Every single player is available except RJ Barrett. And if you can hold Grimes, then I'd like to keep
I
him.
don't
But
think we
everyone
have
else,
enough. I don't think we have enough.
no, I don't think so
Not
either.
for him.
But I'm just
Not for
saying
him.
that if he wants to come out, and the only other team that I can see that Donovan Mitchell will go to besides the Knicks is Miami, and I think Miami can afford it. That's the thing.
Miami definitely can afford it because
Yeah.
first off grabs when it comes to Miami, Tyler Hero's gone. Like
Tyler
he's
Hero's gone.
gone. He's gone.
Duncan Robinson's gone. First round draft picks gone.
But
And
now
Utah
look,
love the white boys.
I got a twist for y'all now, right? So y'all the GMs now. We playing GM mode. What's your first move you doing in the off season? It's out of these 2 moves that you can start with. You either gonna worry about giving Mitch his bag, or you gonna figure out if you gonna move Randall or not. And which one you doing first and why? I'm
Oh,
gonna
this is
start.
easy.
Ooh, I bet I like that. I'm gonna start. Matter of fact, go ahead, Mo. Start it up. Start it up.
I mean, I have a longer take on this, so
All
Clay, you
right.
can go.
So who got the quick take?
I
Let's
got a
start. Who
long
got
take.
the who got the
Clay said it
quickest
was
take?
easy, so
Yeah.
yo, Cash, rip it apart, baby. You said it was easier.
No, it
Go
is
ahead.
easy. It really is easy for me. I'm trading both these guys. I'm not even thinking twice about it. I'm getting assets for both. They're going to get me what I need as far as to get point guard. I don't care about any of these players besides getting a point guard. You know what I mean? Julius Randle is not my ideal person, you know, like as far as a leader, somebody that I want in our locker room, you know, being around these young guys and stuff like that. You know, I can't take away from his talent. He's a talented guy, you know, but at the end of the day, he's just not somebody that I can respect as a person and a leader of this group. And Mitchell Robinson is a trade asset for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why they haven't extended him. I don't know what's going on or whatever, but they need to get into a situation where they sign and trade him because if they lose him for nothing, that's going to be another knock on this front office or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? That'll be way worse than letting a Ntilikina walk. This is way worse than that. You know what I mean? Because this kid actually has value. You know, like he has a lot of value. And if you can't get a first round pick for this kid, I don't know, man. It's not saying a lot. But if I'm the GM, that's what I'm doing. I'm trading Randall, bro. First thing I do, and then I'm finding a trade for Mitch. Maybe send him to Detroit, something like that. Get like late first or something, early first.
Definitely, I like that. What's up, Smoove? What you got?
Well, to be honest, I agree. I don't want either on my team. The first thing I do is I find a trade for me first, right? I find a trade for Mitch first because you could definitely get some value back, even if it's just draft picks and expiring contract. Because the goal is not this free agency, but it's next year, right? So you want to put yourself in a position where you have maximum cap space going into the next year, right? So you find a trade for Mitch, whatever you can get that's reasonable. You make the trade, and then you get rid of Randall. The reason why you get rid of Randall, even if you don't get rid of him this offseason, but you get rid of him the next trade deadline or before the NBA trade NBA free agency next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can still get some value for him, right? So if you build it up as much as you can, and granted, he does have attitude issues, defensive liability issues, but he's still averaging 20. And that is going to be able to get us some assets as well. And I use him to get the point guard, whoever it is, or I use him to get another star to come back to New York. But we got to build the value of these players because I'm a big Obi Toppin guy. I truly believe that if you put Obi and he gets 25, 30 minutes a game, he can score almost as much as Randall. And you saw that when Randall had COVID. Obi was averaging 20 and 10. So you can't tell me that he can't score. But obviously, we also got to have a bright coach who plays the young guys and has a great offensive system, which is why Mike Woodson is really a big miss right now, because right now we look like we can't play basketball in the last 12 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
The coaching is another thing I would get rid of too, because it's just we and yeah, we don't know how good Deuce McBride is. We're just starting to see Grimes before he got injured. Look at how long it took him to get minutes, and Obi, he has his issues, but in the end, how you really gonna see how good he really can be? The same thing with Cam Reddish. How you gonna see how good these kids can be if you're giving them 5, 10 minutes and you're sticking them in the corner like you're Steph Curry and Klay Thompson? That's not their game. It's not their game, and it goes all across the board, and it starts with the front office too, man, because they're not making smart decisions in terms of the coach, the offensive system, and the free agents. And I was the only one at the trade deadline that said that the Knicks wouldn't get anybody, and people thought I was crazy, and when it came that they didn't, I was like, I told you, and but I have a philosophy on why they didn't make any trades, though, also.
Definitely, definitely. I definitely respect that, and it's like I I hate the fact that people try to say, but you got Cam Reddish. I'm like, bro, that's not a deadline move. Like that's different. Okay, that's very
Right.
different. That was
Yep.
Mhm.
literally like, look, RJ, you didn't make the All Star team, but look, here's your reward for busting your ass. You got Cam Reddish. You feel me? Like that's what that move was about. But go ahead, Mo. Let me hear it.
I agree with both of them. I just feel like it all starts with the front office making it known what route they want to go. So, do you want to build around RJ Barrett, or do you not want to build around RJ? Are you going to make it his team or not? If so, Julius Randle is going to be very hard to move by himself. A lot of people think it's easy. I don't think it's as easy as people think it is. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Julius and Tibbs are both here at the beginning of next season. I wouldn't be surprised if they're giving an opportunity until the trade deadline of next year to see what they can do as a team as a whole. I feel like Mitchell Robinson's value in the league. A team like a smaller market team like Detroit or Charlotte or one of these teams would pay him his money. They'll give him 20 million a year. They'd want to take him. I agree with Cash what he said and Angel about sign and trade with Mitch because to me Mitch is very replaceable on this team. And again, a lot of fans they just love their players so much that they don't understand that there's people that are better than them. You know what I mean? Like it's a given. But to me, Mitch is very replaceable. And if the front office is going to take that route on building around RJ Barrett, then you need a big man that can spread the floor for you. Because the only person that helps Mitch is honestly RJ. When RJ plays with Mitch, he's the one that's getting him the lobs. He's the one that's getting him the pass. He's the one that's looking at him on back doors. So if you're going to build around RJ and you're going to want someone, I want someone that can spread the floor as a big man, someone that can defend the three ball a little better, and also someone that doesn't fall down every possession, man. I have to fucking sit there every time he falls down and pray to God that he didn't break something. It's scary. I mean, you don't want that in your big man. It's very scary. Either it's his hand, either it's his foot, either it's his shoulder, either it's his balls, or anything. Just like every time he falls down, you gasp like, come on, man. It's hard. Like if you want to give him 11 million, 11, 12, so be it. I mean, if you can get rid of Noel's contract, Butterfingers Noel, then so be it. I understand. But if you can't, then I don't know, man. I'd rather just try to be on the safe side and get rid of both. I agree 100%. But who's going to be more easier to trade? It's definitely going to be Mitch. And if you're going to want to trade
Yeah.
Julius Randle, you're going to have to add on some of the assets to them. You're going to have to add on IQ. You're going to have to add on Noel. You're going to have to add on maybe Obi. Like you have to see what other teams want for you to get rid of him. I think he's going to be the last move of the offseason for us. Is going to be Julius Randle being moved if it happens.
Definitely, I respect that. Now, if I'm the GM, I'm looking at it like this, right? First person I'm moving is Randall. If I gotta move him, I'm moving him first, right? But if not, that's why I said like I preach it a lot in in the spaces and everything. Even when I'm tweeting, I'm like, look, before we do anything, he has that. Not only does he have a large contract, out of everybody that has a large contract, he has actually a discounted rate contract, right? So if you get off that, what, 117 that he got, you figure out a way to get that off. He already messed up by giving us that extra 60 million back. So we still got that 60 million to play with. That's where it factors into Mitch. With Mitch, I'm not keeping you if you thinking you getting 60 million. Now, if you think if you want a 44 or 43 mil, yo, by all means, you staying right here with us. You good. Anything over 43, 44, you can pack your bags. We meet you at the airport. You heard? Like you got to go.
Years.
For 4 years. 40, 43, 40, 43, 44, 4 years. Something like, you feel me? I think personally he would take it because like you gotta consider, bro. You haven't been here. Your 4 years here, you only probably played like 2 years tops, fully healthy. And that's between all 4 years, if you combine them all. So you
Right.
don't deserve 60 million. You don't. In the 4 years that you've been here, you still are the same player. You didn't add anything different. Your free throws didn't get better. You complain, and that complaining he does, I'm not with none of that. That's not New York. Like
But
New
you're
York,
smart.
like New York don't give it up like that.
But
So
you're
you're not
smart.
getting money for that. You feel
You're
me?
smart
So
though. That's not but him. He knows that he'll get 80 million in Detroit. He'll get 80 million from Charlotte. He'll get the money somewhere else. They'll throw him 18 to 20 million a year for 4 years. I think it will happen easily. And if I'm Mitch, to be honest, forget about being a Knick fan. If I'm Mitch, I leave. If I can get 80 million and I haven't been healthy, and I don't know if I'm going to be healthy, I'll leave and I'll take that bag, man. Because this is actually a big thing for Mitch. There's a lot of reasons why Mitch hasn't played against the better big men in the league after he had a 2020 game. He had that 19 and 22 rebound game. The next day they played against Denver, and his back was sore. His back wasn't sore. That's a business decision, man. That's
yeah,
a business decision. So
definitely.
like
I
you're
mean,
smart.
And he's been underpaid for the whole time he's been here. So he's gonna want his money, bro. He deserves his money. So if he
Yeah,
ends up going, let's just get him in a sign and trade and just keep it moving from there, bro.
yeah. I'd
definitely.
rather just sign him with the team that he wants to go to, sign it,
Yeah.
and then we'll trade it and get some assets back in return, so we don't lose him for nothing.
My biggest
Yeah.
That's
thing is, I heard
develop.
that. I say that again, bro.
I was saying that we need to let him go by sign and trade because Jericho Sims can do the same thing he does, bro. Like
Mhm.
if you look at how his defense is on the perimeter, which is where we get killed a lot, on a 3-point defense or just jump shots, he doesn't have quick feet to really stick with those guards. But if you watch how Jericho Sims was playing defense, even though he's raw because he's not used to playing, I don't know why it took him 60 games to even start seeing minutes, but if you just see the defense that he plays, he does the same thing Mitch does, and all he has to do is just develop a post game. And Mitch hasn't developed a post game in 4 years. He can't shoot free throws. He can't put the ball on the floor like that. So I think with Jericho Sims, it's going to be critical that we develop him the right way because you have to think about the cap space for next year. If you want to put yourself in a position to get a superstar to play with RJ Barrett and also trade for a point guard, you're not going to have that cap space if you're going to pay Mitch, and that's why Randall is more easier to hold on, I think, if you wait, let's say, to next year's trade deadline or even next offseason, because you still could use him as that trade chip to clear cap space because he'll be making close to 30 million. You can move that either this offseason coming up or the next year when all the free agents are available to sign anywhere they want, and then you still have that space to be able to sign whoever you want. But if you sign Mitch, we're not going to have that money. So that's why it really comes down to developing our young talent, man. That's how we save money and we can trade some of these veterans because Nerlens Noel is another one that has to go. Like he has
So
to go.
Trippy, remember we still have Noel's contract. He has to be moved. So that's a big thing
Yeah.
also. He has to be moved. And I don't care if you fucking waive him and pay him out for the next 5 years. But I think a small market team that needs a backup center would take him, or even a contending team will take him as a backup center.
To
Definitely.
what? To warm up the bench all year?
You throw him
What
with
is
the
he?
second. You throw him with the second round pick.
He's keeping it warm for the starters. Like
Hundred
what are we
percent.
doing, bro? Like
Butterfingers on the bench is good for him, man. But you throw
that
him with
was
the
a
second
bro.
rounder.
That was a terrible signing, bro.
All right.
Holy smokes,
Yeah.
that's bad. That thing's
I think
bad.
we all felt that way when we re-signed Noel. I was like, I don't know how to feel about this one. The only reason why
Mhm.
I understood it was because, like I said, we run it back. You got to give Noel credit where it's due. He held us down to help us get to that fourth seed. You know what I'm saying? Mitch was damn near hurt all year. Like he did his thing.
So,
I understand it. But after what I seen, he only played like 22 to 26 games out of an 82 game season. Oh, nah, that's grounds for you getting bought out at this point. Like,
mhm.
you gotta go. But look, we got like last 9 minutes, so I'm gonna give y'all a final question before we get up out of here, right? So we all want to build around RJ. Now, when you build around a young piece, you would like to keep some young pieces. So RJ is our main guy. If you could pick any two, you can only pick two now, any two of the young guys we already have on our team, who do you keep on this team to run it with RJ? Whoever wants to take the floor first, even if you got to think.
Cam Reddish and Quentin Grimes. I'm gonna go with them. If you gave me three, I would have said Sims.
All right. I mean, I feel like Sims automatically going to be here, so I'm not even counting him.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
who you
no,
got,
I
Mo?
agree 100%, man. Grimes to me has very, very high basketball IQ. The kid's very poised. He listens to his coaches. He pays attention on both sides of the floor. If he continues to grow in the offseason and year by year, I want him to replicate his game after Klay Thompson. I mean, the kid's a good size. He's athletic. He's strong. Knock on the ball. Has a good drive to the basket. He goes up strong as well. Gets to the free throw line. Can hit his free throws. If he can keep doing this and keep on improving and gets coached the right way, that's a mini Klay for me. Cam Reddish too. Cam yesterday put the ball twice on the floor and he looked like Paul George. And it's crazy to me that he hasn't been playing, and I still think he's the best driver that we have on this team. The best attacking forward on this team is Cam Reddish.
You want to hear something crazy? Even to stats, he actually is the best driver on his team.
Yeah,
He's only been playing a couple of games.
yeah,
Like that's the
100%.
crazy part. That is the crazy part. But how you feeling, Smoove? Who you keeping?
Topping.
Obi.
I'm waiting for it.
My two young pieces is Grimes and Obi Toppin because Grimes, okay, that dude is the next Klay Thompson. All he got to do is just put the work in, right? Obviously, we got to develop these kids the right way. But the reason why I'm going to go with Obi Toppin is not even because he's my favorite player. But if you look at his game, if you look at how he played in college, this dude could be the next Amari Stoudemire. That's a superstar type player right there. But you're never going to see his true talent if you have him shooting threes like he's a jump shooter. Right now, at this point in his career, he doesn't have the handle, he doesn't have the jump shot, but he can hit a three sometimes, right? But imagine if he shoots 30% from three, or 35%, or 40. You drafted this kid eighth overall. I'm not for giving up young talent in 2 or 3 years. That's just not how I roll. I want to see them develop the right way, which is why I think the coach that we have, you're never going to see it because Obi could get a rebound and then, foul somebody and then he's out the game. I mean, how you going to really see how good he really is? And, if I had three, my third would be Cam Reddish because I think that's going to be critical to bring a Zion to New York whenever he decides that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans, right? But for Obi, man, if you just look at some of his highlights, besides the fact that he can dunk, this dude can still post up. But we gotta put him in better position. We gotta have him set pick and rolls and have him roll to the basket. He can really score. And if you just watch his basketball tape, we know that we need a point guard. That's the biggest issue, right? But you can see how good he was in the playoffs. And this is another thing that I've taken because Julius Randle played horrible. But Obi Toppin played better than Julius Randle in the playoffs. That is just a fact. And we gotta give and he was hitting shots, he was hitting threes, and he was doing it playing 20 less minutes than Julius Randle. So imagine if you can give him those minutes you never know what he can be. You know, like to me, he's not a role player. This dude, just like Cam Reddish, could be an all-star, maybe superstar if in the right, system with the right coach, with the right point guard. But, in the end, it's the same thing with Cam Reddish. Even with Grimes, Grimes, when he started the season, he wasn't getting any minutes like that. And that's why we were all so frustrated, right? We're like, man, like we actually got talent and we're not playing them. So, when you're playing 10 minutes, I mean, you're never gonna see how good they are. So that's why we have such a small sample size because, we're just thinking, oh, well, you only play 10 minutes, so just get rid of them. Now, if it's for someone like Donovan Mitchell or SGA or Zion, DeJounte Murray, you make the move, right? But I think Grimes is the one player in terms besides RJ, you can't give him up. You cannot give him up. And, Reddish is another one. And, but Obi's my second choice because I just think, you know, with how Randall is playing right now, if you're gonna move him, you could slot Obi right in there and do the same thing he's doing. And then he doesn't even need the ball to succeed, which is why the offense would flow better with RJ, even if we didn't get another superstar in terms of right now. You have to look at how the team plays with the bench. They play really well because the ball moves. It's not just ISO Randall. But when you look at the starting offense, it's like just move the ball. Let the person get the shot. And that's our frustration, right? Like we just don't move the ball. And that's partially the reason why, we're 25 and 38. I mean, look at Julius Randle last night. I mean, that ISO Randle, even though he was balling, but I hate ISO Randle. I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I agree with it all. I agree with it all. But yo, this
How
was
about
lit.
you?
With me, of course, I'm with you and Cash, bro. I'm keeping Grimes and Cam Reddish off the rip,
Oh,
bro.
big facts. I got
Like,
to
come
take
on
care
now.
of RJ, bro.
Like, yeah, like that's the first thing I'm thinking about. But I'm gonna throw one little twist out here and have y'all think about
Yeah.
it. And then when y'all do y'all spaces, I'm gonna bring it back up.
Okay.
I'm gonna let y'all know this right now, and I can stamp it. IQ or Obi or both. I bet you they both. Like it's either IQ, Obi himself, or it's gonna be both of them. But either way, out of those two, somebody not gonna be here next year. I can stamp that.
IQ,
I can
IQ,
Yeah.
stamp it.
It's it
IQ.
should be IQ, but I have a bad feeling about Obi.
Yeah.
I say the same thing, and it's like every time I think about these young pieces, I'm like, yeah, if they didn't want any of these vets during the deadline, why would they want them during the off season? Yeah, IQ's out the door. Like, even though, and the
Literally.
crazy thing is, IQ had a slump year, and the teams were still calling like, "What y'all doing with him, man? You quick." I was like, damn. Yeah, he might really be out the
Julius
door.
Randle.
Man, look, bro.
Because other teams are going to use him the right way. That's the difference, man. They know that he's not a point guard. They want this kid to come off the bench and just light it up. That's all they want. You know what I mean? These teams ain't calling them to go, hey, won't you come run my offense? No, they want you to go be a flamethrower out there and start putting up buckets. You know what I mean? That's what Emmanuel quickly is. He's a bucket getter. But you got to let him be himself. You can't put him in this position that he's in right now, man. It's crazy.
Fact, man. That is a fact. But y'all, it's been lovely. I appreciate all y'all for coming up here again, folks. Fan and Fan Talk series. Y'all ever want to pull up? Y'all know where to get at me. It's right here. Everybody's following. We'll be right under them. Right here where my hands is at. Everybody join from Smoove to Cash to Mo. Make sure y'all get in tune. Make sure y'all tap in on Twitter because the spaces be lit. It's always around the clock. Even when we ain't got nothing to do, we throwing spaces. You feel me? I'm about to get on board with it just because of them. We super lit, super lit. I appreciate all of y'all for coming in here, man. And we gotta do another one. We got to yo the fact y'all. You know what's the crazy part? Y'all the first 2-part series I got, so we definitely have to do another one. You
We
feel
can
me?
Oh,
do this all day, baby. We can do it
that's
all day.
We appreciate you. We appreciate the love, man.
That's a
And we
fact.
appreciate being here for real.
Yeah, man, it's definitely an honor, bro. Like just by you giving us this platform and being able to talk Knicks basketball and everybody having their opinions, man, that's just awesome, bro. So anytime, bro, I'm always with it.
That's a fact. But again, folks, it's been real. Like I said, I think Smoove moved over here, so we got Smoove, Cash, Mo, myself, Trippy OG. Fan to Fan Talk series. I'm back once again, so lock in with us.